Hi, my name is Mario Mitchell, and I am introducing to you Faces of Local. The concept behind this is to sit down and allow me to interview some of the most dynamic people in our industry. Dig deep with them, share their stories, and most importantly, share their stories with you. Allison, what first sparked your interest in real estate? Was it a single moment or a series of events that led you here?
I think it was one moment, but it was a series of events. And the series of events were, first of all, let me go back a little bit further. I have a degree in special education, but I got married early. And I married the lieutenant of the SWAT team in Buncombe County. He wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. And so I had children at a very young age, and then found it, behind closed doors, it was an abusive situation. I knew that I needed to get out, but didn't know how I was going to, because he wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. And so I remember I had a daughter that was 12 and finally said, "Mom, things aren't going to change." And at that moment, I'm like, well, there's no way I could go and teach, because how in the world am I going to make $30,000 and have these kids that need to go to daycare, and daycares and $900 a piece? There's no way that was going to happen. And I had a best friend. She's still my best friend. She's to this day, and she's a general contractor. And she whispered, "Allison," she planted the seed, "have you ever thought about real estate and getting your real estate license?" Because I always said I don't want to be the mom that doesn't attend my kids' ball games. I don't want to be the mom that's working at nighttime. That was so important to me. And so I think she planted that seed in that moment. And then, I finally got the courage to get out. He left. I remember our electricity got turned off. He wasn't paying child support, nothing. My parents stepped in. I asked Mom and Dad, I said, "Could you please give me $500? I want to go back to school. I want to get my real estate license." And at that time, we had a fast track program where you could get your license in 5 weeks. And I did that. Every Saturday and Sunday I went to school and I studied, and I knew that that's what it was going to take to give me. I didn't know freedom to me was making $40,000 and being able to go to my kids' ball games. I was just like, if I could do that, God, then thank you. And so I had no clue the doors that were getting ready to open, but it was the first step of freedom. And so I went to Keller Williams, and people don't realize, but there's 3 people that brought the Keller Williams into North and South Carolina from Gary Keller: Jim Buff, Matt Tavern, and Sherry Puffer. And they owned all the franchises. Well, Jim Buff brought me on as, I would say, Jim Buff incognito. He brought me on as a salary position, and I sat behind a desk, did all the work, did the negotiation. But at that time, my mind saw like the boards and the transactions and the amount of money coming in from implementing systems. I realized, well, this could actually be way bigger than I ever even imagined. And so that was my aha moment. But during the 2 years that I worked for him, I felt like I was in a dungeon because the office had no windows. But I learned everything I could, knowing that one day, because he knew so much, all this information was going to be so valuable. But I did have that aha moment during that time. At that time, I had been divorced. I had met my current husband, and I knew at the time that I could do this too. I had been sitting behind the desk. I'd been doing everything for somebody else. Now it was the time for me to show, step out in faith. I believe God was calling me that. He allowed me to be in that desk for an amount of time to get the knowledge, but it was that time then for me to step out. And so I just said, I'm ready. I'm going to go from giving the salary up to step out to 100% commission. And that was the leap of faith.
Now, was there a moment or multiple moments, but at least one that you want to talk about where you thought, I might not make it?
Yes, there was multiple moments, and I think that it always comes back to my faith, and my faith is what's kept me going. Because real estate is a roller coaster. There's going to be months you make zero, and then there's going to be months you make $50,000. And so if I didn't have my faith, if I didn't believe that there was a higher power protecting me and pushing me through, then I think I would have given up a long time ago. It's very easy to give up if you have that mindset.
What motivates you to continue growing, even on the hard days?
My children are the reason. I want to break generational curses. I want to show them that everything's possible. You might walk a hard walk, a hard life, but it is possible. And they're watching me. They're watching me. I want to leave a legacy, and I want to leave, first and foremost, I want them to know the same God that I know, that stepped in and carried me when I couldn't carry myself. But I want them to see their mom as somebody that would never give up. No matter what happens, no matter how hard things got, I want them to remember me in that way. My grandmother, I was adopted, so she wasn't really my biological grandmother. But my grandmother, she's dead now, but I remember her always believing in me. She didn't have a driver's license. She didn't have very nice things, but she spoke life into me. And she made me feel like I was just as loved as the other kids that weren't adopted. And that changed my life. Like, she made me feel valuable. And I think that just shows you how God will use the weaker things of the world, and those things can change the trajectory of somebody's life. And she was the one who did that for me.
Do you have any habits, routines, or mindset practices that keep you focused?
Absolutely. I get up every day and I work out. Workout's huge to me, and I do my devotionals every day. I believe that you renew your mind every day. That's so important, and you put in your mind what you want your day to come. And I didn't do that all the time when I was in my 20s, but it's become a practice now, in my late 30s and 40s, and that's really important, renewing your mind every single day. I think that's why it's so important to write down your goals and make them plain. And it says that in Habakkuk 2:2, it says write it down and make it plain. Because if we just keep it in our head sometimes, that it will get distracted. You'll forget what you're doing in life. And so write it down and make it plain. And if you look at my mirror each morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to tell you my why. My why, again, is going to be my family first. And it's breaking those generational curses of poverty, of self-hatred. It's those things that are so important, and that's what keeps me going. And we all know that we're going to have more hard times. And so if we already know that, let's go ahead and prepare that and prepare our mind right now.
Now, if you can go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
This too shall pass. And I think that right now, with all the suicide and everything going on, I think that so many kids and younger kids get caught in their mind that they're in a season. It's just a season, So don't give up right now, because this season's going to be over with. And so don't make a permanent decision on a temporary season that you're walking in. Success is not about money for me. Success is helping more people. In the bottom of my heart, I want to see how many people I can help. And I believe it's a ripple effect. I believe that the more people you genuinely want to help, it comes back to you.